I'm SP from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a show about the general Marvel comic universe, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other hilarious and fun geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Welcome back, TV fans, to On the Bubble podcast. My name is Josh, and today we're talking very quickly about the peculiar situation that surrounded Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. So it's not unusual for a Joss Whedon product or television show to engender a massive fan reaction when even the slightest hint of a cancellation is involved. Buffy had a fan campaign even after multiple very successful seasons. This whole show itself, On the Bubble podcast, was born out of the fan reaction and the ideas around that, which first became obvious to me from Firefly. Dollhouse, let's just be honest, not exactly of the same caliber of those particular shows, Buffy and Firefly, but also fighting the shadow of two of the greatest television shows ever made. So no one was expecting Dollhouse to get an easy run or to be as great a show. But that didn't stop the show from attracting its own incredibly loyal audience. And personally, the show wasn't that bad when I go back and watch it. I was quite down on the show at the time because the rumor was that Fox had chosen season 2 of Dollhouse over season 3 of the Connor Chronicles, which, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, is one of my favourite, if not my favourite, television shows of all time. So I was pretty dirty about Dollhouse even having a season 2. When I've gone back and watched it in later years, yeah, it's good, it's funny, it's clever, and really unlike a lot of other shows or any other show that I've seen now that I can watch it without the veil of "you killed Terminator" hanging over my own head. So onto the fan campaign. What's weird and almost unique, at least in my research about the Dollhouse fan campaign, is that fans started writing letters and running online petitions and hassling the executives from Fox before the first episode of season 1 had even aired. So they were pushing for a renewal for a show that hadn't even had an episode on the television yet. And that says two things. Unlike Firefly, for example, where season 1 is a masterpiece, sometimes Joss Whedon's shows take a season to establish themselves, and from season 2, they take off like a rocket ship in quality. I know, for example, Buffy's the ultimate example. Season 1 is a kiddie teen show that happens to have much better jokes. That's really what it is. And there's a couple of great standout episodes, particularly the last episode where she fights the Master. I won't spoil too much more, but that episode in and of itself is brilliant. But from episode 1 of season 2, the show completely changed. Angel was the same. Season 1 felt like, can it shake the shackles of the style of show that Buffy was? Can they be different? Season 1, I recently rewatched the whole season. Season 1 is kind of different, not good, whereas season 2 was different, brilliant, and they established what that show was going to be moving forward in season 2. So Dollhouse fans knew, 1, Fox is unreliable and makes poor decisions. They cancelled Firefly, one of the most loved genre television shows. Look, I shouldn't even say genre shows. One of the most loved seasons of television ever is Firefly. They cancelled that. Also, they aired it the first time it was on out of order, which also impacted its initial uptake in audience because it was disjointed. People maybe didn't know that explicitly at the time, but they felt it a little bit from conversations that have happened after the fact. Also, Fox just loved cancelling things before their time. They were renowned for it, and unfortunately continued to be for several years after this whole Dollhouse fiasco. So what I find funny about this whole situation is the fans knew Fox are unreliable. Joss is going to need half a season or a season to establish this brand new world because he made it known this isn't Buffy, this isn't Firefly, this is something different to those shows. So the fans were thinking, well, historically, season 1's a world builder and he nails it from season 2. Let's get on this early and get Fox to commit to more than a season. And it was hilarious how the Fox executives reacted. Like they weren't aware of their own history and their own behavior. They asked for fans to give them a chance and to wait until the season had started, which is hysterical in retrospect. You have no track record of being able to make a better decision with information than you do without. So I understand completely where the fans are coming from, because they're like, well, we know this show's going to get good. Everything Joss has created and then put onto the small screen, onto the television, has been high quality. So he's made some bad decisions on set and also off set that I won't defend and we won't get into today. That's not really what this show's about. But what makes it onto the TV has always been good. So we don't trust Fox. Let's just put the thumb on them now instead of waiting in case there's a rating decline, in case they don't put any marketing into it and then blame the show or blame the fan base for not supporting it. Let's hassle these people early. And did it work? No. Basically, Fox said, oh, give us a chance. Don't hassle us now. It's a waste of time now. Wait until later. Yeah, sure, guy. Cool. Because once again, your track record's so impeccable, you deserve that opportunity from the fan base. It's really, really silly. And I'll finish up today by saying this. Season 2 of Dollhouse, and this hurts to say, was pretty good. It wasn't Terminator. I'm not going to say that. Terminator had a depth and a subtlety in the performances and the use of sound and music particularly that I haven't heard in another show since. But there's worse shows that could have got that money. And there's no real evidence that they chose Dollhouse Season 2 over Terminator. It was just those decisions were made contemporaneously and they were two of the more expensive shows. I think Terminator was the most expensive per episode show Fox were making at the time. As a huge Whedon fan and someone that really wasn't ready for the universe to move outside of the Buffyverse, I guess, and the Firefly universe, Dollhouse, not bad. And I can understand, though, why fans got on it early, because they're like, we're not going to give these guys a chance to change their mind. Let's make them commit to a Season 2 now. So the thing was, they ended up getting that Season 2, which I did just mention. So the fan base was really paying attention to their decision-making around this show. And we know that you're under pressure from Whedon and his camp themselves not to screw the pooch on this one like you did with Firefly. Righto, guys. Joshua C. Liston on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you so much for listening today. If you're a Dollhouse fan, let me know. If you're a Terminator fan, let me know. I'm always up for a massive deep dive into talking Connor Chronicles if you ever want to do that. You can get the contact details for the show below wherever you're listening in the show notes for today. Thank you to the Gunner Geek Network, Stephen, SP, and everybody else involved for your continued support. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.